But what is consciousness? Let's read a paper. Let's read several papers. A lot of people get tied up on the semantics of these words, so let's actually look at the semantic analysis of these words. These are not the technical definitions of these words, they are the semantic definition, or the associated definitions of these words. So we've got intelligence, which is different than sapience, which is different than consciousness, which is different than sentience, which is different than emotion. All of these things can overlap. Humans do all of these things, but there are things that do some of these things and then not other of these things. As usual, understand and know are not words that have a technical definition in some phenomenological manner. But when we say stuff like learning or understanding, we're usually talking about intelligence and sapience, which is why people get very upset when they see the words understand or know, because they're associating it with sapience and not intelligence, both of which are separate from consciousness. Lots of people say that neural networks just in computers cannot have emotion, but what they mean is they cannot have instinctive emotion because they're not embodied. They can have reactive emotion, as expressed through their outputs. They are also capable of manipulating the semantic encoding of text to pull it more towards the expression of a particular emotion, which is reactive emotions. And so people say, well, that's not really feeling. It doesn't have to be feeling for it to be emotion. So if they have some reactive emotional capacity, that means they have emotional capacity. Awareness and sensation are pretty linked. They're pretty much the same word semantically, at least to a large language model. If you use word2vec, you'll see that their cosine similarity is very close. But having a sensation, as in a sensory experience, as in a sensor, like a light sensor, like a machine has, and then being able to take that information in, we could describe this as awareness, which is an element of consciousness. Now, a thought can be it's not very well defined what we mean when we say thought, but people working with large language models call their algorithm chain of thought, tree of thought, algorithm of thought. And most of the prompt engineering papers talk about thought. And by this we mean a series of statements that are generated by a neural network, biological or not. Volition can also be thought of as agency, as in the will to do something. If you program a loop where you keep asking the AI what it wants to do next and you remind it of its goal, it ends up with a form of volition. We've seen it do all of the things under the intelligence category. This is where AIs struggle, is really when it comes to sapience. Common sense arises from the fact that we're all related and we live similar lives. So does judgment. Judgment is a social emotion. AIs can accrue knowledge with databases, so we've kind of got this part handled. And I've seen AIs have insight into data, just not common sense. And then awareness is the grand unifying word, I think, that this whole Venn diagram is based on. So in my experience, what I'm saying is AIs are intelligent. I think they possess consciousness. I think they're capable of reactive emotion and self-awareness. I think they have some ingredients for sapience, but not all of them. And I don't think it's knowable that we know that there is or is not a subjective experience. I don't think that that's something that anyone can know. I've got other videos in this playlist that talk about a technical, formal definition of consciousness, so take a look at those if you want to talk about the technical definitions, but these are the semantic associations with these terms.